This video contains spoilers for Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Advent Children. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth shows us a multi-layered reality. Planes of existence that contain alternate versions of the living. Manifestations of characters we know to be unconscious in reality. Characters we have reason to believe are conscious elsewhere. And the dead. Characters move between these planes of existence throughout the game. Through close examination, we can make sense of what is happening and free ourselves to ask some interesting questions. This video is the first of two parts, exploring the various layers of reality in the game. The second part will illustrate and track the movements of characters between these layers. Let's create a visualization to help set context for what is shown. At the top, we have the surface level physical reality where the majority of the game occurs. The surface level reality is distinct from what we see later by having life, growth, and a functioning life stream. Also, Stamp is shown as a beagle. Mako flows below the surface of the world. This is the physical liquid form of the life stream that Shinra suck up with their weird machines. Tifa is taken on a journey through this while inside a baby weapon. During Tifa's adventure here, she sees manifestations of her memories. While the representations of people appear as immaterial light, the locations appear to be physically present among the rock. We see them still in place in the closing moments of the game when we see the baby weapon's materia glow. This could of course be a production error, as the series has several of these lurking in the background. It's hard to be sure. Contained within reality are visions and illusions. These appear to be more than simple hallucinations occurring within someone's imagination. They are experienced by fully conscious characters superimposed over their experienced reality and include the shared illusions the party experienced during each Jenova encounter. Note that elements of reality remain visible throughout. These are twisting rather than replacing reality entirely. The shared visions of the future the party see at the end of Remake, when Sephiroth alters the appearance of a black-robed man and people other than just Cloud see this. Cloud sees Sephiroth in his visions more often, but is often the only person who sees him, so these are a separate category. Cloud experiences several full hallucinations, such as when he encounters Sephiroth at the beginning of Remake. He also sees Sephiroth on multiple occasions where others see either nothing, or they only see a black-robed man, which Cloud also then sees after experiencing a glitch. Other party members also experience illusions which appear to replace their experience of reality entirely. We see this in the trials at the temple. Cloud's trial is different from the others, showing only recent memories. He lacks awareness of his true past and trauma. It is implied to be created and controlled, or at the very least invaded and influenced by Sephiroth. He doesn't travel into a room alone as the others do. so the rest of the party appear to see him while he experiences it. How much do they see him act out? Do they just see him suddenly kill the black-robed man who was not there a moment ago? Also in this category, we have the golden bubbles, as shown in our previous video. We only see these as full events twice, once in the church during Aerith's dream, and once at the altar at the end of the game. In both cases, they seem to overlay a glimpse of something other than the world around them. Note that one of these appears superimposed over reality, while the other affects what is seen within a dream world within the Lifestream. We see other moments with golden light and shifts in reality near the end of both games. These will be explored in a future video. Lastly, there is the tear in the sky during the final moments of the game. While we don't know what this is, it does match the criteria for this category. Cloud is conscious and present in the surface level reality, while no one else present sees what he does. We can now move on from visions and illusions and look at the next plane of existence we see in the games. Outside of reality entirely are spaces which at first appear to be fully self-contained and separate worlds. At first glance, these give the impression that the game is a multiverse or contains alternate timelines. However, by examining what the game shows us, we can see that these all exist within the Lifestream. With the exception of Aerith, we see each of them from the perspective of characters who are unconscious or dead. The rest of the population seem to accept the strangeness, despair, and apparent doomed fate of their worlds. Sephiroth explicitly describes these worlds as being contained within the planet itself, that they are created when the boundaries of fate are breached, which we see at the end of Remake and as Zack makes decisions in Rebirth. These worlds exist only temporarily. We can assume the worlds Zack, Cloud and Aerith move on from don't last long without them. These worlds lack a normal flow of time, growth, new life, and seemingly have no Mako or Lifestream of their own. They are only reflections of the real world, and not true worlds in and of themselves. Looking first at Stamp and then at Zack's movements, we can distinguish the following worlds. The world we first see at Destiny's Crossroads. This is the world where Stamp is a Yorkshire Terrier, and the world we see Zack and Biggs in through most of Rebirth. There is a clear connection between this world and the final battles at the end of Remake. According to an Ultimania translation, there is another world symbolized by a sad terrier when Zack visits Shinra HQ. This claim is doubtful. Stamp looks sad as he is part of a temporarily closed sign. His breed and the stars on his hat are also unchanged. The next distinct world we see is the one where Biggs is shot by Shinra soldiers. Here, Stamp is shown as a pug. We briefly see a world where Stamp is a corgi. This is where Zack confronts Sephiroth outside Aerith's church. The last clearly distinct world we see is Aerith's dream. Here, Stamp is a chihuahua. After being separated from Cloud during the final battles, Zack arrives at a world where only the church and Meteor seem to exist. Could this be him returning to one of the previously seen worlds as they undergo the process of their destruction? Lastly, we have the world that Zack finds himself in at the very end of the game. The presence of living flowers here hints that this may be Rebirth's surface reality, or a realm where Aerith is present. Outside of these worlds, we have this strange space I am calling the space between worlds. This is the space that Cloud enters after falling from the Chihuahua world. and leaves by entering the forest stream. Within it, we see a sea of dark swirling color and vortexes of light that appear to represent memories and worlds. This sea exists within a light grey void, itself filled with light star-like spots. The vortexes of light are seemingly formed by flows of the dark and purple energy usually associated with Sephiroth. These are shown containing moments from the past, dreams and other worlds. Memories and dreams of the planet, perhaps. Cloud and Sephiroth enter and exit them, one by one. The first one is shown exploding into whispers as they exit it. As they pass through each, we are shown scenes from Remake, the Stamp Worlds in Rebirth, and then Remake again. After passing through two vortexes, two more are shown merging. This is potentially showing the process of worlds reuniting. This is followed by the sounds of the planet screaming and scenes from Remake at the edge of creation. Another vortex is created, and we see scenes of black-robed men in Rebirth, followed by Cloud getting a vision. This vision is different from the other clips in the sequence. It's full screen and follows Cloud experiencing a headache. Cloud is experiencing a personal vision here. It represents a potential future and his fall to Sephiroth's control. At the end, one final new vortex is created, which Cloud enters and passes through into the forest stream with Aerith. The forest appears to be in a form of shared dream. We see two of these shared dreams. Both are experienced by Cloud while unconscious, in connection to Aerith. The first is Aerith's resolution scene in Remake, when Cloud falls asleep at her house before embarking on her rescue. The second is the forest stream in Rebirth that Cloud arrives in after passing through the space between worlds. In both cases, Cloud is unconscious in the surface level reality while Aerith is elsewhere. In the forest stream, we know she is conscious and interacting with the party, while Cloud is carried by Barret. While in the resolution scene, we know that she is at Shinra HQ, while Cloud is asleep in her house. From these common elements, we can assume that these shared dreams in Remake and Rebirth are mechanically the same. Cloud enters the first through the simple act of falling asleep in Aerith's house. He enters the second one from the space between worlds, where we see him enter a golden vortex. He passes through a tunnel similar to how he travels to meet Sephiroth in the Lifestream at the end of the original game, and how he reaches the edge of creation in Remake. He leaves both of these dreams by waking up. We can trace a clear connection between these worlds as Cloud's unconscious mind passes from the Chihuahua Stamp world through the space between worlds to the shared dream in the sleeping forest. We see the same elements in Aerith's dream as we do in the Terrier Stamp world. And throughout the game we see Cloud glimpsing the Terrier world while sleeping. Finally, while Aerith is shown to have her hand within a pool of Mako, physical Lifestream, it is heavily telegraphed that she feels Zack touching her hand from within the Terrier world. If any of these spaces are within the Lifestream, then owing to this interconnectedness that we see, they all must be. Moving on to the next plane. The space between worlds itself appears to sit within an endless pale void. This space appears to have a bottom, sometimes shown as an infinite expanse of water. This first appears immediately following the defeat of the Whisper Harbinger, as if the world it was manifesting suddenly ceased. Something extremely similar is shown at the end of Rebirth, in the location where Aerith and Cloud fight Sephiroth. Some interesting things to note here. The space where Cloud and Aerith fight Sephiroth at the end of Rebirth is created when Aerith appears, and floods the location where Cloud was facing Sephiroth, which itself appeared to be the edge of creation from the end of Remake, or something extremely similar to it. Given the transition we see in Remake, between the world where the party fights Whisper Harbinger to this void to fighting Sephiroth, and the transition we see from the apparent edge of creation again to this void in Rebirth. This appears to be the Lifestream in some kind of neutral state, as experienced by characters who are not in any particular Lifestream world or memory. The final plane of existence we see is the pure white void. This is distinct from the neutral void we just covered. It lacks the stars, water, and tangible sense of space that we see there. This appears in Advent Children during several moments where Cloud connects with Aerith, Zack, and his own guilt. We see it in Remake after Cloud falls from the Sector 5 plate, and when Cloud remembers Sephiroth claiming to be an ancient. We also see it during the end sequence when the party in reality appear to pass Zack and Cloud, who are in the Terrio world. In Rebirth, we see it when Tifa is encouraged by visions of the living and dead, and where she sees Cloud follow Sephiroth. We see it again when Zack is trying to find his way and spots Cloud frozen in a moment. And lastly, we see it following the final battle when Cloud and Aerith recreate a moment from Advent Children. For the most part, these do not appear to be a representation of a consistent place. Rather, it appears to illustrate a connection between characters who exist in different planes. Lifestream and reality, unconscious and conscious selves, memories, and the living with the dead. The interesting questions. What is the edge of creation? Where do the visions come from? Where do the party go after passing through the portal at the end of Remake? How and when do Biggs and Zack enter the Terrio world? What is the edge of creation? The edge of creation from Remake was a mystery at first. We visit what appears to be that space again at the end of Rebirth. In Rebirth, Zack transitions to it from the pure white void upon making contact with Cloud. While Cloud transitions to it in the same moment, from Jenova's illusion in the surface level reality, seemingly triggered by that contact with Zack. Later in Rebirth, we see this space flooded and taking on the appearance of the neutral Lifestream void when Aerith enters. In Remake, Cloud transitions to the edge of creation after causing Sephiroth to vanish in an explosion of whispers and light. These similarities, plus the memories of the edge of creation appearing in the space between worlds, imply that it also exists within the Lifestream. This Ultimania translation describes it as the world 7 seconds before its end. Looking to Bugenhagen's planetarium presentation, the planet crumbling without Lifestream has a similar appearance. While it's possible that Cloud travels through time to the end of the world, a simpler explanation is that this is another world within the Lifestream, formed from the fate that Sephiroth ultimately fears, when the Lifestream vanishes and the planet crumbles into pieces. Where do the visions come from? Some of these are straightforward, and with others we have to speculate and join some dots. Visions, memories of the future. Each time the party destroys part of the Whisper Harbinger, we see memories of the future released to the party members. Red gives a misleading hint that these are outcomes that can be avoided. We have now seen some of these come to pass. In Rebirth, he describes how he, along with Aerith, previously had memories of the future. These memories were lost following the end of Remake. He believes by the power of the Whispers. Note that the white materia seems to have lost its memories at the same time, in the same way. All these future memories are clearly connected. This will be covered in more detail in a future video. Visions, memories of the past. There are two types of vision presented by the Temple of the Ancients: nightmarish visions of events from the past, and histories shown in a way identical to how Tifa saw memories manifest within the Mako at Gongaga. This connection shows the power of the Lifestream to create visions from memories within it, and the ability of the Cetra to utilize this power. Visions, manipulated and false perspectives from Jenova and Sephiroth. Jenova creating visions is an explicitly named power that she holds, so there is no mystery there. Sephiroth seems to have inherited this power to create illusions from her. He can alter the appearance of former soldiers who have Jenova cells within them. We first see this with Marco and the man creeping out the kids in Remake, appearing as Sephiroth only to Cloud. Next, we see this happening with a black-robed man appearing as Sephiroth to Palmer and the whole party in Shinra HQ. Lastly, we see it with one appearing as Glenn before Sung and Rufus. He can also directly manipulate what Cloud can see and hear. He shows Cloud flames reminiscent of Nibelheim at the start of Remake. His various appearances to Cloud that no one else can see. He appears able to enter the visions, memories, and worlds within the Lifestream. We see this with Cloud's trial. And we see him within the character's shared dreams and Lifestream worlds towards the end of Rebirth. Where do the party go after passing through the portal at the end of Remake? It's almost certainly the Terria Stamp world, though they return to reality again by the time the final cinematic plays. The destruction we see at the start of Rebirth closely matches the wild spectacles seen during the battles at the end of Remake. It's worth noting though, the destruction we see in Terria only matches what we saw during the Sephiroth scenes and not the Harbinger sequence. The big question here though is, how and when do Biggs and Zack enter the Terria world? We see Zack arriving and Biggs in the Leaf House at the end of Remake, before we are shown any other worlds. We'll go into this in part 2 of this episode as we track the characters' journeys between the planes of existence and explore the nature of Biggs, Zack, Sephiroth and Aerith in these worlds. Hit the like button and subscribe to get notified about the next video.